Welcome to ODP, Beyond the Trowel. I'm Shauna Alvarado, CEO of O'Donnell Plastering, and my co-hosts are...
Kayla Alvarado with O'Donnell Plastering. I cover labor compliance and payroll.
Hi, I'm Kira with O'Donnell Plastering. I'm the safety manager and I handle the IT.
Here we are going to get to meet industry professionals and hear a little bit about their story. Thanks for joining us. And welcome to ODP Beyond the Trowel. This is our first ever podcast, so welcome to the first edition. And we have none other but a very special guest joining us today, which is my mom, Marlene O'Donnell. Welcome, Mom.
Thank you, Shauna. It's a pleasure to be your first podcasts.
Yeah, you got it.
Member, and I'm delighted to be here, and I'd like to welcome everybody to this new segment we're doing.
Yes. So this is something totally new for us. So to our outside audience, you're going to get a live action of us. So O'Donnell Plastering, tell me about, or tell our audience about, what was your inspiration? What was the inspiration behind starting O'Donnell Plastering and what it is today?
Well, when Chet and I was first married, Chet was a plasterer, and he did plastering for 10 years under Jones and Bridges. And he was a good worker, and he did a lot of Santa Clara Valley buildings and homes. And he wanted to become his own boss, and so he decided to start his own business, and that's how O'Donnell Plastering came into the picture.
Perfect. I don't think I was around when you guys first started quite yet, but you started out of your garage or your home, right?
We did start out of our home in Santa Clara, and then after we did it in our home, we moved to the Santa Clara Builders Exchange.
Yep, I remember running around those halls many times.
Yes.
We ended up here.
Yes, we bought our piece of property on Lafayette Street and 2318, if anybody wants to come through our building one of these days.
Yep, just don't come to lunchtime, and we play cards.
That's true. We do that.
Yeah. So Dad was a plasterer, so obviously he wanted to continue that. And what was your background?
I've always had a job. I was working at Blue Haven Pools when Chet and I first got married, and
a different kind of plastering.
It was, yes. Pool. We don't do any pool plastering. Pool plastering is a total different job, like you say, Shauna. But I had the experience of doing all the bookwork there and scheduling in that, and that did help a little bit for O'Donnell Plastering, even though I needed more training, which I later on did get.
Okay, what kind of training did you get?
Well, the first thing I did was get my own contractor's license.
Oh, I bet you got it from Eileen Scroden, helped you?
I sure did. And Eileen Scroden's out of the Santa Clara Builders Exchange, and I went to school there, and I got my own contractor's license, so I knew kind of what scheduling and how to do it better for our business. And then I joined the National Association of Women in Construction, and along with all those ladies, I learned how to keep books and do more scheduling and more detailed work, and it was a great help.
Oh, okay, so that brings me to a question on mentors. We all have a mentor that we learn from and, then pass on that knowledge, because I believe knowledge is power. So who were some of your mentors, and how did you gain, which we answered, but the knowledge?
Well, I really have to say probably Claudette Weber was my main mentor, and she worked for Dickman Brothers, and that was how we started our business, really. We went to Kaiser Hospital and Ohlone College for 2 big jobs, and I was trying to make payroll, keep books, and do everything, and I got myself in a lot of trouble because we didn't have the funds to start all this. And Claudette Weber did teach me a lot on how to keep my books straight, how to get the money coming in. And they helped us by paying us weekly on these jobs so we could make payroll and not go bankrupt right off the bat.
So that I would assume would be one of your biggest challenges and how you overcame them. I know growing up, especially in a family business, sometimes you come home with your issues, your problems, discuss them at the dinner table. And, as us being young and absorbing all this information, a lot of restless nights, losing sleep. How are we going to make ends meet? And fortunately, knock on wood, we're in such a great position right now. We don't have to lose too much sleep, I think, these days. But I would definitely say that was one of your biggest challenges.
It definitely was. And you said it all. I working 8 hours in the shop and then going home. You don't just drop your work. You do bring it home. You don't mean to, but it's there. And then taking care of 5 kids at the same time is a tough job.
Absolutely. So you mentioned, your kids and having 5. O'Donnell Plastering, very much. I think anybody who knows us knows it's definitely a family business. We tend to bring our everybody in here, our workers, our office, our, suppliers. I mean, we are family ran and try to implement the family dynamics where we're all just one team. So your kids are in the business.
Back to what you just said, Shauna, I know we have a bunch of employees that have brought along their sons and training them. So we do see that family connection, not just with us, but them bringing in their family, which I think that's really cool.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Along with that is we are very fortunate. Our men have stayed with us for the 25, 30 years until they retire.
Yes, we have a good longevity with our crew. So love that. And I think that's something we definitely value. We don't take for granted. So, speaking of kids, though, let's talk about a little bit about our family dynamic. And we have quite a few workers. We have Mike, Jeff, Shauna, Manuel, Kayla, Kira, and Jacob all working for you, trying to, fulfill this legacy and footprints that you and Dad built. So, do you want to touch base on any of that? Who started?
Well, yeah, sure. Michael, our oldest son, started with being a lather, and he went and started being an estimator, and he got us started with many, many jobs and did a great job. He was in many of the programs and well liked in all of the unions. And
yeah, he was heavily involved in CSI, All South Bay, Plastering Connected. Mike had a special knack. Unfortunately, if you don't know, to our listeners, Mike has, passed away from an illness, but was such a, dynamic estimator. I think he had a special talent. Our guys would always say if it was rainy, he knew when work was available for inside work. When it was hot, he just had the special connections, and we definitely miss him. And then you have Jeff.
And Jeff is our superintendent of all the plasters. And Jeff has always been in the business. I mean, he started out with his dad cleaning up jobs, and he does a very good job, and we're very proud of Jeff. And we have Manuel, my son-in-law, who takes care of the plasters. Kayla, why don't you tell us what the office does? I have all my family in the office.
Yes, so I'm in the office. I take over all the labor compliance, anything that has to do with payroll, anything else that my mom needs help with. I'm still learning as I'm going, but.
And Kira?
Yeah, I handle I'm the safety manager, and so I handle all the safety, keeping track of our workers on the job sites, making sure that everything's handled in a safe manner. And I'm also dabbling in our IT. I also
hence this new podcast.
Setting up this podcast is another thing that I kind of work on. So,
but not only everything like that, but we have a huge milestone that I think you were a big part of that. So
yeah, so this past week we actually hit 2 years with no accidents or injuries. So a big round of applause for our workers for.
Yay.
for our workers for just continuing to work safe out there and be safety minded. So appreciate that.
Perfect. Great job. Great job. And then we have also Jacob Alvarado, who is our newest family member joining the team. He just graduated last year from Chico State in construction management. Right away joined the Carpenters Union. He's a third or fourth level apprentice, and estimating. He does estimating pretty good. But we are currently looking for an estimator. If anybody's out there listening to this, we know these guys want to retire, even though we don't want them to. But we have to look at, our future. So if anybody's out there, personal plug. So just really proud of our family dynamic.
And on top of that, Shauna, you have been a life sentence, O'Donnell Plastering. You have run the business very good, and I'm very proud of you.
Oh, thank you, Mom. Thank you. She's always my biggest supporter, and I'm very lucky to have, be able to work and have my mom as my best friend. So thanks, Mom. So you have your contractor's license, you're a member of NAWIC, you have, a mentor, you guys are doing phenomenal. So I do know, and this was always, instilled, that Marlene is 51% owner. Dad was 49%. So O'Donnell Plastering has kind of always been women owned, but recently you have something to celebrate.
Yes, we become WBE.
Yep. Yeah.
And yeah, we're finally, I started it many years ago, but it just got pushed to the side. And that we thank Shauna for, because she got it there and she got us this certification.
Well, I'll probably pass over that credit to Rob, who also is, our, let's say, adopted family member, because Rob Fisher is our estimator out there. And he comes from the family side as well, from his family owning Fisher and Thiel. And I think ever since he came here, he had pushed me like, when are we going to get that? So finally we did. Yes. So that's exciting stuff. Putting us, making us a little bit separate from our competitors out there. And, in this ever changing industry, you got to keep that education out there. And what are we doing to make ourselves different? So, what are your hobbies? Let's say your day to day activities. What does Marlene do outside of work?
Well, after 86 years, I have a lot of I have a lot of free time, because since I do still own the company, which is taken over by Shauna and Jeff, I go and play bridge on Wednesdays. I do craft club on Tuesdays. I get involved with many women's club items and federation. And I just keep busy.
So, Marlene, what would be something you would tell somebody right now wanting to start their own business, just stepping outside of their comfort zone? What kind of words of wisdom and encouragement do you have for them?
Well, you have to love what you're doing. If you don't love what you're doing, it's not going to work. You have to enjoy the job you have. Then that everything else follows through. You just got to work hard and make it fun for everyone. Give praise to people who do good jobs, and your workers will stay with you. I've been very fortunate, because all of our workers have always stayed with us for many, many years. We have some for 35 years right now. And the thing is, love your job, work hard at it, play hard, and everything will turn out.
Have you seen? I mean, if O'Donnell Plastering has been around for 52 years, of course, there's been tremendous changes throughout the industry. So, and since we are all women at this table right now, what do you think has the women has involved from back then to today? What has been some challenges have you seen that we have overcome?
Well, it's always been a man's world, but I think us women are now coming into it and working well alongside the men. And I think they are starting to realize that we're here to stay and we're becoming bigger and building more of our own businesses and running jobs, and we can do anything they can do.
With the, even NAWIC or Women in Construction, or, we have Wackerwick coming out, you have YOPS, so many opportunities for women in the industry now to take some leadership roles and gain that experience. I know both of these young women that are sitting here definitely have a strong role model that's in front of them, who they've looked up to, and lucky that they're able to work with their grandmother every single day. What a blessing that is.
I think it's just great that, us for that sake here right now doing the podcast, we all come from a different kind of generation. So we each bring something different to the table. And I think that's such a great thing, not to only have, like, of course, in a business, but just to have in each other in general.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good, Kara, that's so true.
Yeah. So we thank you. Thank you for joining us today. We will be trying to get these out, probably, hopefully monthly is our goal. And, if you have any questions or know anybody that would like to be on our podcast, please reach out to one of us. Give us a call, 408-988-4965. And we look forward to hearing from you. Until then, go plaster the world.
Goodbye.